Hi, I'm Adonis, and I am new to the community. I've been really inspired by a lot of the sequences that people have been sharing and things like that. So I'm just getting into it. My show currently is a kind of a pre-programmed AC controller that's got 6 channels on it, and so it's just kind of does its thing. So I am this year looking to convert from that into kind of a pixel show where I have some new props and individually managed props, and I can do a lot more things. So looking at adding a mega tree and some other things. And so one of the things that I've really enjoyed is playing with the xLights software to figure out, will my house look good when I put a show together? And so on the left is actually my layout that I've been playing with. And on the right is a sequence that I found that I really enjoyed. I watched a video from, who was it? Watched a video from I think it was a 2017 uh, Christmas Summit, the xLights tutorial from Ron Howard, and he kind of goes through how do you import a show. And so I followed that and I learned a great deal. But one of the things I realized I would do is I would actually jump into the XML file itself and do some things. There were some things that I found a little tedious as I was migrating and adapting shows from somebody else's work onto my house. And so I found that there were a lot of things I did over and over and over again. So I went ahead and wrote a little application. And so what Ron kind of talks about, and what others you probably have your process, and my process was, I'd go in and pull up their house, and I would run their show and kind of look at what it looked like. But one of the things I kind of want to do is their list of props is very different than mine. And so sometimes we both have a mega tree with a whatever, but it was a little bit difficult to do a mapping, or, an xLights would only allow me to map 1-to-1. If I used one of my props, I couldn't use it again. And so I wrote a little tool. And so I wanted to show that to you real quick. This tool is an xLights show adapter. I've only worked with xLights software. I don't know if the XML is common across a bunch of things, so I've only been using xLights. But let me just show you the tool real quick. This is the xLights show adapter. If anybody finds it useful, that would be awesome, and I'd love to hear from you. So I'm going to select my reference show. This is my personal show, and so my show is in my documents. Goes to xLights. And then I'm using my 2021, and so I've got a bunch of stuff in here. So that is my layout and my show. And then I want to adapt this guy's show, and so I'm going to go into my xLights, sample shows, and this is the one I'm eventually going to adapt. It's a little bit, it's actually small and real quick for me to adapt, so I'm going to show you a bigger show. This is fantastic as well. So I'm going to open this guy up and just show you a couple things, and then I'm actually going to go back and adapt that show. So first of all, kind of like xLights, if there's already a name that matches, it's just going to go and automatically pick it for you. And I can actually go in and say, for example, whole house or Windows group. Let's make that my Windows. And so I could go in and make individual selections. And so there's my Windows. But a couple things that it does is it shows you all their models. And if I want to map two things to the same thing, it's just going to create multiple layers. And so it would actually show you how many layers this item has, how many effects are on it. And see, I didn't even need to map this one because it actually has no effects in it. So I like to sort by effect duration. And so now I can see the big elements that take a lot of stuff. And so I've got my mega tree, and I'm going to map it to a mega tree. The next thing it does, Ron talked about how do you go find all those assets that they're playing on their mega tree and their panels and things like that. And so I went and did a little thing where you could actually go in and say, I want to adapt these. I want to remap these assets. Basically, to make it simple, it's going to create a single folder where all assets are going to go and include any files that it finds. And so this should be your videos, your graphics, your music, as well as shaders. Although I haven't run into shaders, I haven't learned how to use them and what they're used for yet, but we'll see. So, but I'm going to search for files, and it's going to find these files. And then when I go and do an export, it's actually going to copy these into a new file. It's going to remap them in the XML file or in the sequence file, and then make them wire up work. So this show is really big and complex. It took me a long time to map it over. I've actually already done the show. I did the show manually, but this show here, I want to do that one. It actually was the inspiration for me actually writing this little application. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. And so I'm going to sort by effect duration here. Oops. And then I'm going to quickly fast forward through the mapping so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do it. And then I will jump back in and we will render and play the show. Okay, so I've got it mapped. I'm going to leave the Tune 2 sign off. I think the only thing that shows up there, well, let's go ahead and put it on something. Let's put it on just so I can see what it pops up. I think I had it on my panel earlier. I'm going to put it on um, my mega tree because I can always easily go in and change this. You can easily change it in xLights. You can also remap your own file here and do that as well. So let's go ahead and grab those show asset files. It's got the music here. So I'll go ahead and search files, and it looks like he actually did have the audio with his show, so that's great. It's going to go ahead and grab it. And then I think that's it. So I'm going to say do remap the assets. So it should just work whenever I agree in. Copy the assets into a new folder. And so layout mapping, it's great. I don't have to map these. Everything's done. So we'll go ahead and just export the show. It's going to ask me. It actually recommends. And by the way, no files are actually changed. Everything is read only, and then it creates new files. And so it doesn't change your layout. It only references your layout. It doesn't change the sample show, the sequence that somebody shared. It only creates a new one. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Call it adapted, and then that'll do that. It's going to ask me and tell me, hey, a directory folder is going to be created. Is that okay? I'm going to say yes, do create the folder. And then it's going to open the folder, which it did over here. And so here is my 2021 show, and there is the folder that was created, and there is the XML file. So if I go in here, the only thing here is its music. And so now I'm going to go to my layout here, which is this is my 2021. And I'll go in here and say open the sequence. And there is my sequence that I just adapted. And so now you can see here are all of my assets, all of my props, and here are all of his props. And all it did is it created new layers. The file that xLights uses is really, really easy to work with, so I love it. I'm going to make this audio very quiet. I don't think I'll play that one as well. Let me check my audio here. It's on quiet, that's fine. And then we will hit play and see how it looks. And so it's kind of fun just to see, it's really quick and easy to go in and map somebody's show to your house and then take a look. Of course now, I go back into xLights and actually do some mapping and get it working, but I might see, does this sequence look good on my house or not? So anyway, I think that's everything I wanted to share. Not sure if you could actually hear me because of that music, but we'll see. So that is, in a nutshell, how this application works, and I hope you find it useful and perhaps it's beneficial to you. All right, take care. Thank you so much.